From the Cronkite studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
Good evening and welcome to the special edition of Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Quentin Walker. Thank you for joining us. Tonight, we take a look at stories from the Next Gen reporting team, from how schools are working to prevent teen suicide to parents taking part in PE.
Every year, schools receive funding from the state based on enrollment. That funding is dispersed monthly to each Arizona school throughout the year. But what happens when those numbers are off? Schools can either get a big bill or a big check. Cronkite News reporter Isabella Holsizer looked at the adjustments and shows us how they balance the books.
Some schools owe, some get a surplus, and some break even. Schools all over around Arizona vary when it comes to the 2019 statewide recalculation adjustment. According to the 2019 adjustment, 5 schools owed the state upwards of $1 million. That's not the case at Challenge Charter School in Glendale. Principal and CEO Wendy Miller says the system the state has in place can sometimes leave room for error in reporting.
Each individual school system has a student database information system, and we feed those into the state system, which is ever evolving. And so it can be difficult for vendors to keep up with some of the program or codes that are needed within the system to communicate. And so often what happens is a communication error that is resolved later.
The resolution comes during the Arizona Department of Education's recalculation adjustment in August. Challenge Charter School was one of 119 schools that were right on target with the amount of students enrolled to the number in seats once school had started.
You know, having a longevity of people in key positions, our compliance officer has been with us for almost 20 years. So between that and the consistent leadership, we understand some of those historical algorithms.
100 days into the school year, the state reviews funding that is sent to schools. The schools that were not on target end up on a repayment plan. If enrollment is lower than anticipated, the school repays the money back to the state little by little per month until the debt is fully paid off. The same situation happens in reverse. When schools see higher enrollment than expected, the state adds a surplus of funding each month until the schools are awarded the correct amount.
Typically, 75% of what a school owes is paid back within the first year.
But what about the schools that owe $1 million or more? Santan Montessori School owes the state $6.7 million. As would any other school that owes money back to the state, they are being put on a payment plan.
Schools have the opportunity to pay it back over the course of 2 years, should they elect to. So they have to fill out a form and apply for that option, but that is a completely viable option for them.
The average amount that schools are given per student varies among Arizona schools. At Challenge Charter School, it is around $6,000 to $9,000 per student. This amount can fluctuate based on factors like special education students and other outside funding. In the broadcast center, Isabella Holsizer, Cronkite News.
As the November 5th elections get closer, schools are hoping voters will help boost their funding.
Cronkite News reporter Rio Painter is following the story.
The election is just a few weeks away. More than 30 school districts are asking voters to give them more money, including the Peoria Unified School District.
So the override actually pays for something very critical right now, which is school safety. It's a very hot topic right now. We're trying to, with our programs, help stop violence actually before it starts. And by using more counselors and by using more psychiatrists and psychologists at our schools, we're able to help students get the help they need before something turns violent. So that's one of the important points of this override that's going through right now.
Along with the additional $4 million that will be used for school safety initiatives, the district would keep this $26 million that is being used for people in programs throughout the district. This is a mail-in only election. The Maricopa County Records Office started mailing out ballots this week. All ballots must be filled out and returned by November 5th. In the broadcast center, Rio Painter, Cronkite News.
Today, students and teen suicide prevention advocates gathered at the Arizona State Capitol for a demonstration of hope. It's part of a Teen Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. Delaney White was at the event this morning. Delaney?
Morning, high school students from 11 different schools across the valley came together to support each other in a unique way. They created a Connection of Hope paper chain.
School has always been a safe space for me, but I recognize that not everybody feels that way, or sometimes they just feel down. Everybody has their own problems, and I just want to help and try for others and my other peers to feel the same.
Kimberly Sanchez helped create the paper chain containing more than 13,000 links. Each link contains a handwritten message of hope to help students who may be struggling with depression.
With our Valley schools, what we asked is anyone who wanted to participate that they create paper chains of hope. We gave them a template, and from there we wanted students to create encouraging messages of hope that allowed them as time went on, that students would be able to rip them off when they needed to, when they needed a good word, an encouraging word after a rough day, something like that, but it was also to represent the schools supporting each other.
Teen Lifeline challenged high schools to see who could create the most messages of hope. As a reward, 3 $1,000 prizes were awarded to the top participating schools. The prize money will be used to create long-term demonstrations of hope at the winning schools. But for the students who participated, the project wasn't about winning.
I think the chains will just bring just better energy and hopefully more willingness from their from their scholars to actually come to school, because they know that there's efforts being made for their students to be happy and for them to feel at home and they belong at school.
Teen Lifeline, as well as other agencies working to prevent teen suicide, plan to visit 32 schools in 30 days during September. This month was declared Teen Suicide Prevention Awareness Month in Arizona by Governor Doug Ducey. In the studio, Delaney White, Cronkite News.
As students experience stress and anxiety at school, one program in Phoenix is aiming to address the problem. Cronkite News reporter Peter Gong shows us how it's helping.
I was really struggling with schoolwork as well as college preparation, and I was just very stressed out, didn't know how to manage my time very easily or very efficiently.
Kennedy Waters, a student at the Phoenix Metropolitan Arts Institute, isn't alone. According to the Pew Research Center, 70% of teens surveyed last year said that anxiety and depression are a major problem. The Arts Institute offers a program designed to help students with anxiety and stress. It's called Project Wayfinder, a year-long curriculum that allows students to explore themselves and find their own purpose to be happier, healthier, and less stressed out.
Project Wayfinder's hypothesis is that if students have a deeper understanding of who they are and why they're doing what they're doing, then they're going to have better mental health and better life outcomes.
Phoenix Metro Arts Institute is the only school teaching the program in Arizona. Matt Baker founded the school to help students discover their own passions.
When I started the school, I was trying to create an institution that would take into account students' social and emotional growth and allowing them to find a sense of meaning.
Courtney Page Bodorf teaches the Project Wayfinder class. She meets with students once a week and uses the toolkit to guide students to go through activities.
We build trust with each other for the first few lessons, kind of establish our own culture within the classroom, establish our own rituals.
Waters says she feels she has a support system to help her because of the program.
I feel like it's a very open space. It's a really safe place to be vulnerable if I feel like I would like to. I know that I can.
Another student, Gracie Van Hoos, says that Project Wayfinder helped her become more confident in her schoolwork.
You become very comfortable in the space you're in. You really build relationships with the others around you that you may have never thought you would.
And as a result, students become more confident and empowered to do well. In Phoenix, Peter Gahn, Cronkite News.
Project Wayfinder is currently being taught at more than 60 schools and colleges across the country and the world.
Arts education is an important part of student learning, and to reflect that importance, students can now earn a seal for their diplomas showing mastery of the arts. Cronkite News reporter Rio Painter met with students who hope to earn that distinction.
In May, Governor Doug Ducey signed into law the State Seal of Arts Proficiency. Students and faculty from the Arizona School for the Arts have been closely following the process. The Arizona Arts Education Proficiency Seal is a chance for students to show their hard work and dedication to the arts. Students at Arizona School for the Arts spend the same amount of time practicing their instruments, rehearsing lines, or learning new songs as they do studying for subjects like math or English.
Arts education in general is extremely powerful. It really contributes meaningfully to well-rounded education and to teaching to the whole child, which is extremely important to our Office of Arts Education at the Arizona Department of Education.
To qualify for the seal, the students will need to maintain a specific GPA in their arts courses. Students will also need volunteer hours in that area, as well as a capstone project in their final year of school to show their advancement.
I study theater, and I really want to pursue acting in a college and a career. And to have this seal shows that I have worked many years and I have dedicated my life to theater.
Not all who obtain the seal will choose to only study arts. Many are looking to prove that in the future they will be able to excel in other areas of education and careers.
I want to be a doctor, but I do think that the arts show a level of dedication, especially the hours you put into it, that show that going forward you will also be that dedicated in whatever you do.
And show colleges that I go above and beyond and I don't just stay in the mediocre.
And put those hours in to kind of make myself a better person and kind of improve on skills that not only relate to the arts but also to the academics too.
This is a voluntary program where districts can opt in or out of. The seal is expected to be ready for 2020 graduates. At the digital desk, Rio Painter, Cronkite News.
Some school districts in Arizona are making the switch to propane-powered school buses in an effort to reduce emissions in Arizona.
Cronkite News reporter Peter Gong shows us how this move will benefit the environment.
Several school districts in Arizona are able to buy new propane-powered buses thanks to some new state funding. Arizona Governor Doug Ducey awarded $7.5 million to 35 school districts in Arizona for purchasing diesel and alternative fuel buses. The portion of the funding came from a Volkswagen settlement after the company violated the Clean Air Act by modifying their cars to pass the emissions test. One school district in Flagstaff finds several advantages with propane-powered buses.
They actually are less expensive because they do run cleaner. That means that there's less in the emission systems. There are fewer EPA parts in a propane-powered bus.
One study from West Virginia University found that propane-powered school buses emit less pollution. Data in the study shows that propane emits less carbon dioxide than diesel vehicles and also has lower nitrogen and carbon monoxide emissions. According to Ron Pope with the Maricopa County Air Quality Department, the age of the school bus contributes to the difference on emissions between propane and diesel buses.
The emissions for a propane-powered school bus is it's a little less than a diesel power, but it's not a dramatic difference. When compared to older vehicles, it is a dramatic difference.
There are still issues with propane-powered vehicles that have to be considered. The initial cost to buy propane-powered school bus is more than other school buses. Most fleets still run on diesel and there are very few public propane refueling stations. They have to be refilled on site. But the benefits include lower maintenance and fuel costs, as well as being better for the environment. In Flagstaff, Peter Gahn, Cronkite News.
Flagstaff Unified School District plans to add more propane-powered school buses in the future.
A group of Chandler High School students are working on an invention to regulate body temperature and prevent heat-related illnesses.
The students said they choose to tackle the topic of heat-related illness because it's a problem that hits close to home.
Cronkite News reporter Delaney White found out more.
So our first objective in this whole journey was to battle a common problem in our environment. And for us, we thought of heat immediately. So we started thinking of ways that could cool people down. But then we moved into the idea of preventing heat stress.
Chandler High School students invented a cooling hat that lowers body temperature and monitors vitals. It uses an app that connects to the hat using Bluetooth software.
So basically, we, the Knights innovators, sell cooling hats to the worried parents, adults, and children of Arizona to prevent the hundreds of heat strokes that happen in our state. Unlike other cooling hats, we monitor the user's vitals to make sure that they are not going into the dangerous range of heat stroke.
Arizona College Prep science teacher Rashina Nath oversees this group of students. They started the project to try to win a $10,000 grant from MIT.
To the teachers as to who could be good candidates for the project and who are really interested in engineering, design stuff. So once I got some names, I called in for a test, and finally we got a group. Then I started to work with them to brainstorm ideas as to what could be a possible idea that we can work on. And of course, being in Arizona, heat came up instantly.
The students did not receive the MIT grant, but are not letting that stop them. They have applied for a patent and have started the fundraising process in order to build the prototype.
All we need to do now is fundraise and get enough money so we can fund the process of prototyping this. And once we get it prototyped, then we can approach other companies and we can say, here's our product, do you want to help us?
The students are working with an entrepreneur group, Chandler Innovations, in order to set up a company by the end of next year.
APS has partnered with Friendly House to provide students with a scholarship that will help them become linemen. Reporter Andrew Christensen went to Chandler Gilbert Community College to see how the scholarship is helping its recipients gain new skills. Andrew?
I got a first-hand look as to how Chandler Gilbert is helping its students soar to new heights by restoring power back into their education.
Using a hammer is a skill many construction jobs require. At Chandler Gilbert Community College, scholarship recipients are making some noise as they prepare to be linemen.
I would like to be able to restore power one day and look at all the lights go on. It'd be awesome.
APS partnered with Friendly House to give scholarships to 9 students across Arizona, totaling $50,000. Their aim, to recruit a more diverse lineman workforce.
We've all noticed there's been so many disasters and so many different things happening lately that it's amazing how people rely on power. And once again, you got the first responders that come in and rescue, but then you need these people to come in and restore.
Scholarship recipient Jose Gonzalez took inspiration from natural disasters. He and his family were affected by hurricanes in Puerto Rico. For him, being a lineman isn't just about restoring power, it's about being a first responder.
A lot of people don't really look at it as, okay, it's a power company, it's, somebody's got to go out there first. Firefighters, police department is not going to go do it. Of course, if it's a line down or somebody's underneath it or crash, somebody crashes into the pole or something, first ones they're going to call is a power guy.
Students take an in-person class where they gain skills like tying knots and apply the skills as they climb up poles.
Behind me are a group of houses that simulate the kind of neighborhood that future linemen will work in to gain the skills they need for the job.
For some, the thrill of hard work in a changing environment is enough motivation to get the job done.
You get to go out there and fight other than military and first responders that live in the areas. But if you're willing to work hard, that's the thing I'm looking for.
Linemen can make a starting salary of up to $40,000. In Phoenix, Andrew Christensen, Cronkite News.
With school underway, teachers are still struggling to obtain basic classroom supplies.
Cronkite News reporter Rio Painter visited a local nonprofit that helps provide discounted supplies.
So I saw a teacher ask a student to bring her shoe up in exchange for a pencil because the teacher didn't have enough pencils. And this way she would get her pencil back because the student wouldn't leave without her shoe. And that was the one thing that kind of broke my heart and made me realize that there was actually a problem out there. The teachers didn't have the supplies that they needed.
Arizona ranks 4th for teacher spending, according to the most recent data analysis by the Economic Policy Institute. The data shows teachers spend an average of $552 per year out of their own pockets. Many teachers looking for ways to save head to Treasures for Teachers, which allows educators to fit as much supplies as they can in the bag for $5.
100% of everything that we receive is donated to us. So from private people, companies, businesses, school supply drives, donation drives, anybody that has any kind of donations that we think teachers can use, we will take.
The store was expanded 2 years ago, adding on a thrift shop, which helps produce more money to provide discounted supplies for teachers.
We get items from, like I said, jewelry to stamps to clothing to housewares. We get high-end items. We get lots of antiques.
While the supply room is only open to educators, the thrift shop is open to the public. Creative teachers are also turning to online funding sites like Donors Choose and Adopt a Classroom to fund special projects. In Tempe, Rio Painter, Cronkite News.
There's a $35 annual membership fee to join Treasures for Teachers, but the nonprofit group says memberships make a great gift.
A teacher in the Gilbert School District put an exciting spin on the traditional lesson of how to write a letter.
Cronkite News reporter Mariah Gallegos is joining us now. She visited Oak Tree Elementary, where fourth graders are learning some writing skills as well as some geography. Mariah?
While the English teacher, Mrs. Drury, is still covering the basics of formatting a letter, she found the students pen pals 5,000 miles away from home to write to.
Hi, my name is Emily. I'm in 4th grade. Some of my favorite hobbies are cheerleading, dancing.
Emily continues her letter with questions for her pen pal, Ryan, who lives in Bolton, England. Amay Bereshika is also writing to her new friend across the pond.
She asked me a bunch of questions, and she said, like, what's your favorite food? And, like, she just seemed really, really excited to, like, learn more.
Like Amay, the students in Mrs. Drury's 4th grade class are learning what life is like overseas.
In my spare time, I like to play Minecraft. Let's go!
And will be returning their letters with answers about life here in the U.S.
I felt excited because I've always wanted to know what it's like to have a pen pal.
Espen says he feels like he's found another friend. Mrs. Drury wanted to find a unique way for the kids to improve their writing skills.
It's a very easy way, a natural way for them to work on our friendly letter standards. So they have to learn what the body of the letter is. They have to learn what the heading is, how to greet the person that they're talking to, how to close their letter. And that's just a little bit more fun when we can put it in real life.
She also believes it's important to connect the students with others outside the classroom.
Yeah, I think it's great for kids to correspond with other kids. Let them know that they are not alone, that we're very interested in making connections here at Oak Tree, and we want to make sure that those connections go out beyond us, our school, our community, and into the world.
Mrs. Drury says she scans and sends the letters through email, so she hopes the students will hear back from their pen pals within the next 2 weeks. Mariah Gallegos, Cronkite News.
One Valley School is home to a brand new playground thanks to volunteers and a big donation.
Cronkite News reporter Rio Painter shows us around.
Students at Palm Lane Elementary School in Phoenix never had the option to play on a full playground. Before today, there was a small slide and a few swings. With over 40 volunteers, United Healthcare and Fiesta Bowl Charities worked together to bring a new playground to the school and some other improvements.
Here at Palm Lane, we're doing some landscaping projects. We're laying new rock, fresh plants. We're doing some painting projects in the hallways and the bathrooms, but just some things for the kids to kind of notice and maybe brighten their day and see something new.
Last year, faculty and students were ecstatic to learn that they were getting a new playground.
That our students get the opportunity to have a new playground added to our school because not only do we promote academics here, but we also promote physical education, and it's really important that our kids have the opportunity to exercise and play.
Students can now enjoy the landscape that has been added along with the challenge course every day during recess. In Phoenix, Rio Painter, Cronkite News.
So far this year, Fiesta Bowl Charities have donated more than $3 million to community projects.
The city of Phoenix and ASU are teaming up to test water conservation technology. Cronkite News reporter Mariah Gallegos found out how the technology works and how much water it could actually save.
As you can see it just looks like a granulars of salt-like stuff.
Small water-absorbing technology called hydrogels will be injected into the soccer fields at the Arizona State University's West Campus to help conserve water.
It's a hydropolymer. It's biodegradable, and so it's organically, environmentally safe. And a machine takes it and it places it approximately 2 inches below the root zone of the grass or the turf.
The City of Phoenix Water Services Department received a $100,000 grant in partnership with Arizona State to see how well the hydrogels work for us here in the desert.
If this technology works, we might save as much as 40% of the water that it takes to keep a turf facility healthy. That's a pretty significant savings, so we're hoping that this pans out.
The soccer fields currently use about 11 million gallons of water a year, but with the hydrogels, the city expects to save 4.4 million gallons a year. And once the hydrogels are in the soil, they can last for up to 5 to 7 years.
It is another tool besides good, effective irrigation and smart watering to make sure that we get the grass the water it needs, but we don't waste any of it. It allows us to be really efficient.
If the program is successful, the City of Phoenix will likely use the hydrogels at more turf facilities, including city parks and golf courses.
That's it for this special edition of Cronkite News. Thank you for joining us. For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.